Oh, all right. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter Spaces is going. Guys, welcome back. Oh, Jesus. Let me get my glasses on. Here we go. Guys, welcome back to the. Oh, shit. Hold on. No, my volume was. Guys, welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be replacing the little voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say the first thing for listener and viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. Guys, this podcast is brought to you guys by BetFury Gaming, a crypto company looking to bring y'all some motherfucking generational wealth. We're looking to bring some educational content podcasts over to their Asian audience. For every 10 minutes you're watching on Twitch, you can earn 100 points, and you can exchange those points for entries to win real cash prizes. Today, we have Dante Walker, OG YouTuber, OG NFT YouTuber back in the day from like the Ugaverse days. I remember because I was watching all the videos. It's crazy time to be alive. He's unlocked the key to success. We're going to try and teach people the right way to do it without the gimmicks, without the bullshit. He's very much like me with that kind of stuff. So it was really refreshing to watch his videos, his newest videos, which you guys should definitely check out as far as kind of like just breaking down some limiting beliefs and things like that. I love the authenticity, and I told you this before the stream, and the actual game you drop. So, dude, welcome to the show. How's living, on heaven on earth?
Yeah, man. I appreciate the intro. Thanks for having me. And it's really good out here. It's actually really beautiful. And if you guys don't know what he's talking about, I'm out here in Thailand in beautiful Phuket. And I really enjoy it. I do recommend that if you guys have some kind of income that is location independent, that you can like take advantage of, living in different, parts of the world and living like a king. So that's what I'm doing here, and I quite enjoy it. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's gonna be some good shit, guys. I see people in the chat; they're pumped about it, guys. If you're in Spaces, if you're excited for this conversation, hit that retweet button, bottom right corner. All you have to do to reshare this, get some of his fans who are like not even sure he's live right now. Because honestly, we had a time mix up. I was completely off somehow, and I was an hour early. But anyways, we're still gonna get into it, dude. So listen, a lot of people will remember you and they see your Twitter page. They remember like the NFT days, the Ugaverse days, the alpha calls, things like that. Where's your world at? Where's like your time being spent right now? I know you started to do a little bit of like a rebrand / shift in content. You know, your interests are changing a little bit. A lot of people's are, but it's still kind of surrounding the whole aspect of like, I guess like I don't know, I don't use like the word self improvement, but that's kind of like the generic thing, So like, talk to me about like where your time's being spent right now.
Yeah, my time's being spent right now is actually just doing the things, making money, and getting results. So, what if you guys don't know what he's talking about? Um, Basically, before I got into, if you really want to talk about real OG, back in like 2015, now 2015, 2016, that's when I really first started doing like quite well with e-commerce, generating my first seven figures and things like that. And at that time, that was when I actually got into like, I was like, okay, what do I want to do next? And I moved over seas. Basically, I took that money, I sold some of my, sold like my share in one of the ecom brands that we built, and was just doing like basic drop shipping, which again back then was insane. We were doing like insane numbers, like 30K days, multiple six-figure months, and stuff like that. So it's a pretty crazy time, and I just moved overseas. And so that's really like where my roots are from, just like entrepreneurship. And I had a lot of different hardships just even doing that, and then got into like crypto and NFT. Like some of the money that I made in that e-commerce space, got into NFTs and crypto, and then started talking about it, what I was doing, because I was doing like quite well, and gained kind of a follower base based off that. And now I'm back to just getting the results, man. Like truth be told, right now I'm getting back into ecom, and I just want to drop videos that I feel are truly valuable. Like when I see people making, like, it's cool to make AI, ChatGPT videos, ChatGPT 4. That's what's really hot right now. But like for example, I literally am building out like stores and businesses like using Chat. Like it's not like I'm using it just because it's trendy. It's like it's actually really helpful, and just getting results with that. So like we have some stores and some products right now that we going to scale back up to six-figure months and stuff like that, and just actually do it. Like I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people, they make the content so that they can like make the money, but I'm fortunate enough to have the skill set that I can do these kinds of things. So it just really building it. And I don't know, I don't like a lot of the content that I see. Like I can just tell like most of it is just like, again, go on my channel and talk about like you'll see like how what I said about kind of the chat GPT stuff in my last three videos. But yeah, that's just really where I'm at, just really doing it, just really just like living my life, and just getting results and stuff. And if I want to make a video in a couple weeks from now about like deeper stuff and deeper mindset stuff, then that's what I do. But that's where I'm at with it right now.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. And if you guys aren't subscribed to his YouTube channel, I have his stuff down below in the description. I think it links to his Twitter, which has all his stuff there. Definitely go to his YouTube and put on that bell so you don't miss his videos, because the videos are fire. And you sound like one of those guys. I don't know, when you talk, I feel like there's definitely like a part of you that's like deeper, that like wants to dive deeper. And sometimes it's hard to do that on content because maybe it's like not on brand, or it's like not going to be like work for like the algorithm kind of thing. And that's tough. Like that kind of stinks that the social media world kind of works that way. But you're right about the content, dude. Like I didn't jump on the AI train because I was like, dude, I don't fucking know how to use this. I was like, I'm like I just started like learning about entrepreneurship and business. Like I'm a born and bred content creator. Entrepreneurship is still relatively new to me. I'm still like surfing the first few waves of business. Like I built out my own first business, but I would not by any means call myself a veteran or something like that. I've never generated like a $600,000 a month or anything close to that. So I definitely want to talk about some of those things. But yeah, the AI stuff, dude. A lot of the content is like, yo, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that. And you're like, oh, like, are you doing any of those? And they're like, well, like, I'm not doing them, but like, I'm giving you the idea. I'm like, so you don't know if it actually works though. And like, that is the problem. So like, that's what a lot of your videos talked about. So you did the ecom stuff. There's a lot of people who want to do ecom. The thing is, a lot of people, including myself, have heard lots of rumors saying it's too late. You missed the bubble. Now I've been hearing that about YouTube and every other thing since like the beginning of time. For ecom though, is the bubble popped, or is there still massive opportunity?
All right, I'm gonna just be real, bro.
Be real.
So, probably for most people, like I would say, like again, because like for me in my case, you can definitely still do ecom, but like for me in my case, I still have like connections that I've used and leveraged that from way back then. I have relationships that I've built, and I have like big amounts of capital. So like I'll give you an example. Like right now, a store that we built, I spent probably 20 to 30K in ads, and now we're doing roughly. Let's just say like I think 1.5 to 1.6K revenue right now. About 50% of that is profit, 30 to 50% depending on the day. We're trying to get like over 50%. So it's like out of 1.5K per day that we generate, maybe I believe 750 that will be profit per day. Trying to scale that up. So it's just getting started. So like I mean, the reality is, it took me $20,000 to $30,000 in ad spend to like find like winning products and funnels and stuff like that. And I have a really big experience, I guess you can say, a really big gap in experience, or like I've been doing these things for a long time. I think the average person could, but I just wouldn't really know. Like I don't do drop shipping right now because for a bunch of different reasons. So like what I'm doing now is more like affiliate and working with companies. Like for example, one that I was running, I don't run it anymore because the cap is low, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have heard of On It by Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So that was one that I was running, Alpha Brain, and I was scaling that up, but the cap is too small. So it's just like working with like different brands that are like selling products, and then I'm just like building out the ads, building out the funnels, building out the landing pages and all this kind of stuff, and testing different angles so that we can like scale those products up to, like I said, multiple six-figure months. It does take like quite a bit of capital, I would say, for a beginner person. You can start in affiliate marketing, but if you did do that, I would probably recommend to do something like maybe organic on TikTok or something, because if you're going to go the ads route and stuff like that, you need a lot of experience and a lot of, like me, I can like burn like, $1,000 a day and I wouldn't think about it. But I know like back when I first got started, and again, like I'm not like, I didn't start rich or nothing like that. Like I literally like flipped my way up. Like I was dead broke. I fucking lost everything like 5 times, like lost my car, lost like a lot of different, not lost my car, I lost like 40 grand though. But like literally like built it up, lost everything, built it up, lost everything like 5 or 6 different times. So I'm just like looking back at those days, and probably, where I am now would be like, I wouldn't be able to like make that kind of ad spend. So if you were going to start, I would definitely recommend like doing something organic, or where it doesn't really necessarily cost you time, and you can actually make mistakes without making like permanent life altering like decisions, especially if you're just getting started. I wouldn't recommend like spending so much capital. You should learn for as cheap as you can, but you can definitely still do it. But that's how I would do it if I was you guys trying to get started in e-commerce, like maybe TikTok or organic or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of the issue I see is people want to they see the idea, they see an idea dropped by someone like you maybe, and they're like, damn, I want to do that tomorrow. the reality is that like the only reason you can do it right now is because you had the 5 years of like losing everything and winning everything back and losing back and building back up. And but not to mention the fact that when you lose and win it all, you still keep all the knowledge and you still keep all the experience with you. You keep, and especially you keep the self-confidence of knowing, damn, I fucked up last time, but I got up and made it anyway. So like I'm gonna be fine. And the next time that risk comes around, it's easier to make that risk. Like for me, way on like a smaller scale, but there's been like bigger risk that I've been willing to take that, cost a few $1,000s when I'm like, yeah, like I'm not really going to get anything from this right now, but there's a big chance that if I do this, it's going to be really good for me. And so I'll still make that jump when maybe 6 months ago, I wouldn't have done it. And that's kind of the risk there. Like right now, people see that. And I think because of social media, they feel like they should be able to do it faster. When in reality, the people who have made it, typically it took them a long time out of the limelight before they were able to kind of talk about it in public. But like, Did most of your money, you said most of your money came from like Ecom and stuff like that. And I know you talked about like trading and things like that. Did trading come after all that money coming in, or did the trading start, and did this trading kind of get you to the point where you could start to invest all that money for Ecom?
No, definitely the money came from business first. So I would just I want to like kind of touch on a couple of things that you said there. So yeah, definitely as you get more experience, like for example, even now, like before I found these winning campaigns, it took me like, like fucking, I don't know, like 3 months, maybe like 2 to 3 months to like I found a winning campaign to this level that we're getting into right now. And when you're getting started, it can be, if you don't see results, like your motivation is like quite limited. Like usually what happens is when people start a new opportunity, they'll be extremely motivated for like 1 or 2 weeks. And then kind of, it's just like 80% drop off after that, right? So what I would say is if you're going to get started with any opportunity, whether it be, ecom, business affiliate marketing, or whatever it is, I would just suggest that you do so in a way that, again, you're going to learn that knowledge, you're going to learn that experience. You don't really need to spend a lot of money to do that. So maybe you can, like I said, like do something organic or do something where it just wouldn't, like, for example, if you start a YouTube business right now, you upload YouTube videos, it doesn't really cost you anything but your time, right? So like once you do that, you may learn things about the YouTube algorithm. You learn things about how to create a thumbnail. You learn things about, watch time tactics. You learn all these different kind of things. It didn't really cost you time. And then that experience accrues over time. Same thing with business. You don't want to like start a new business and invest like fucking $20,000, $30,000. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And then like it completely wipes you out. So you don't want to do it that way. So I would recommend that if you're going to start, that you do it in a cost-efficient way, that you will still gain the knowledge that you need necessary so that you can move forward. And then as you start to get certain results and feel more confident, then you can start to put more capital, more investment, and things like that. But if you don't, like, there's 3 forms of energy. There's like there's money, there's time, and there's like pure energy itself. So that's effort. So if you don't have money, you need time and you need effort. So those are the 2 things. So that's what I had. Like when I got started, I just used my time and I used my effort to like do everything I can to like learn business and things like that. And just so like, I guess to give it a little bit of a background, I'd be like, I got really into like I remember I discovered like entrepreneurship. I don't know if you guys, I may sound like a fucking old dude right now, but I don't know if you've heard like a book. It kind of got me into all this kind of thinking. And it was like when I was 16, it's called Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you ever heard
Dude,
of that
it's
book
one
or
of the
something like
OG
that.
books. Yeah, that's like the
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
and Grow Rich, Rich Dad Poor Dad, those books.
Yeah. So I read that book when I was like 16. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why haven't anyone ever taught me anything about these, these kind of things inside of school? Like, I feel like in school I was like really like disconnected, and I just wasn't really uh, interested in like learning about fucking earth rocks or whatever the shit that they were teaching in there. And when I learned about this stuff, I really gravitated towards it. And from that moment, I really got into reading. The book that really changed my life after that was 4 Hour Work Week. And I remember it was like 3 years later after I had turned 16, and I was like, you know what? I was trying to see like, do I want to go to college, or I really know I want to do the entrepreneurship thing. And at that time, I was actually making like pretty good money. Like I had did a website agency, and I was building like I was building a modeling contract website like that had like web apps and all this kind of stuff. And it was like a 10K contract, bro. And I remember like that was like my first time where I had made real money, because all this time I was like reading all these books for all these years, and like I was trying, but I was failing. But that was the first time I remember when I got my first. It was from the same guy from the same agency. I got my first $3,000, and I was like, oh my God, this shit is real. It's not fake anymore. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, it was like out of my mind. It's like this somebody just really sent me $3,000, and I was just like looking at my phone. I was like walking around. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I got to get to work then. So I built that, and then I got another contract from that person, And then that ended up failing like ultimately. And then I tried some other businesses, and then they failed. And then I got into the ecom game around like 2015, 2016 when Facebook ads like really first started. Like that's when Facebook ads first started. So it's like insane results. And long story short, you know, it was pretty crazy because I almost went broke in that business as well. And I remember I was like on like my last dollar, and I was like inside of a fucking Wendy's eating a chicken sandwich. I remember, and I was like looking at my store, and it was like a particular product, and I was like, you know what, like fuck it, like I'm broke or whatever, but let me see if my supplier has this product. And then I messaged my supplier like right there on the spot. And when I messaged her, she was like, oh yeah, she sent me the picture of the product that she had. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was something like it. I posted that on my Facebook page. It was a fan page at the time. I had built up a fan page that had, I believe, like 150,000 people on it on Facebook page. And back then, Facebook page organic reach was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I posted that, and I was like, how many people want this? And they're like, we got like 100 people comment under it. So I was like, boom. I sent it to my VAs. I was like, put this up on the store. And I think we got like $1,000 in sales without doing any ads. And that product ended up doing like $30,000 a day. And that was like, after that shit like changed my life. And that's where I got like, made like a bunch of money and stuff. And that's kind of like how I first got my first monies. And then after that, just like got pretty good at like building stores and stuff like that. And yeah, it just kind of like changed everything. People were, I did a couple of videos and stuff, and I got to run ads for different brands. Ended up becoming a part of some different companies, and that's where I got my first monies. And then after that, I was kind of bored, and then I was like, I want to travel the world or whatever, because again, the money doesn't really necessarily. I can tell you right now, like some of the most stressful times, bro, is like when I was honestly making like the most money. Like I was just like stressed because if I go to sleep and I wake up, like if something messes up while I'm asleep, that shit could cost me like 10 grand. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, fuck, I hope this, like for real, bro. Like that shit is stressful as fuck. Like it's just like something could go down and go wrong while you're sleeping, and it's just like, oh man, I just went negative. Like it's just a lot going on. So it just wasn't really what I expected. So I'm just like looking for something a little bit deeper. And I started watching like a couple different YouTube videos. Wanted to explore the world, and that was my first trip when I made to Thailand. And then after that, I moved to Thailand. Still kept doing ecom. Got burnt out of it after a while, and then I got into crypto, applied the same mindset and things like that. And what you'll find is once you're successful once, it becomes a lot easier to become successful again, right? Like because it's just like
compounds.
It's just like mental models that you apply that you learn over time, and it's just like you learn how to learn tasks, you learn how to become effective at doing things, and then with crypto trading, that was around that time, and then I did extremely well. And this was back in 2020. Actually, technically, DWC started back in 2020. The same Discord that it is today. It started 2019, 2020, and then yeah, that's where things kind of came from. Crypto did extremely well. We like literally made like millions in crypto, like combined as a group. And then I got into like NFTs early as well. And then that's kind of like where things from. So I glossed over a lot of shit, but that's kind of like where my money started from, my story, and like where we at today. So yeah.
Well, one thing I want to point out there, which was really interesting because it was one of the first time. Like I've very recently got into the idea, like the journey of entrepreneurship and the idea of money, because I was like, damn, like with money comes the ability to do things. Like you have like room on your plate now, because you were saying there's like the time, you have money, and you have your effort. And I was like, I've used the effort and time, and I've maxed that shit out a million times over and over again. I was like, maybe I need to focus on the money part and like learn about this stuff. And so anyways, I was on a podcast with my friend Mark, and he's loaded, he's crushing it. He has a marketing company and all this stuff. He lives in the city of Seattle with me. And he's the guy who put on NFT Seattle. And so I did a podcast with him before to kind of just talk about it. And one of the topics came up about like money. And I was like, yo, like I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing all this stuff. Like I'm making good money, but it's nowhere near like money. And I was like, there's a fair bit of anxiety when you're living paycheck to paycheck. There's a fair bit of anxiety when you're broke. And there's a fair bit of anxiety when you're doing normal. And I was like, does it change when you have money? He goes, no. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And he was like, no, dude, it's like just as bad. And I was like, how is that possible? He goes, because bro, you got higher stuff, bigger stuff, you have more to lose. And I was like, yeah, but you're not going to go broke. He goes, no, man, it's the same. And I was like, damn, bro. So that was really, really interesting that you said that as well. Because you've messed with some serious fucking capital, you know?
Yeah, like I'm not like fucking Alex Hermosa here. Like I haven't touched like 100 million. But yeah, like millions for sure. Like maybe like probably just talking about like generated maybe like fucking maybe like 6M or something like that, like from different brands, 6 or 7, probably more now. Like if you call crypto, like a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, I would say that it definitely doesn't change. Like it just shifts, bro. Like it just shifts from like right now you're struggling, you're like, oh shit. what if I don't make it? Like, what if my dreams never come true? And then once they come true, you're like, what if I lose it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's the same exact thing. Like, you're just like, oh shit, like I got all this shit now. I got to fucking really go on because I don't want to lose my mom. You know, I want to take care of my mom. It's just like, it just shifts, bro. It just shifts to a different thing. And it's the same feeling. It never
Mhm.
goes away. But you just have to, you know, in those moments, you just really appreciate, like, you know, you just
Yeah.
take a step back. You go, you know what? Like, things are okay. Like, I'm living in Thailand right now. You know, like, you know, the reality is, you know, it kind of sucks, but you got to think about these things as well. The reality is, somewhere in the world, these devices that we're working on, they're like literally fucking children
Yeah.
working in like sand mines somewhere, fucking, you know, mining cobalt so that we can talk on these laptops. I know it's fucked up, but like it just puts things in perspective on like how privileged you actually are. You know, I could have been born like out of all the places in the world that I was born. I was born in America, and I had like you know, a mom and dad that was in my life and all this kind of thing. So there's like a lot of different things that you know, could have gone a lot worse for me. As
Mhm.
far as like you know, I definitely hit the jackpot as far as like what country I was born in, and not just a total luck of the draw. You know, sometimes you just pop out and you're in the fucking wrong place and
Yeah.
shit sucks, and then you pop out in the right place. So so you just kind of really put things in perspective and just go like, oh, I think I'm okay, and that's just kind of where you go from it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the money won't change you. It just kind of like they said, like it just amplifies who you are. And if you like, you know, if you're a fucked up person and then, you know, you get a lot of money, you're probably gonna do more messed up things, right? Like if you're a drug addict and somebody gives a drug addict like $10,000, they're probably gonna buy $10,000 of shit and like put it in their bodies and maybe destroy themselves, right? So it just, yeah, it's a multiplier,
Yeah, and
man.
one thing, like, I live in the city, so for anyone who lives in the city as well, there's typically a lot of homeless people, and so a lot of times I'll be like, you know, I'll be like scooting around, I'll be walking around the city or whatever, and if I'm stressed out about something, sometimes you'll pass someone who's just like fucking passed out on the ground, like in
Yeah,
some random position. You're just like, damn, dude, I can't fucking believe that I'm complaining about this when like there are people literally trying to just get water. Like they literally have nothing. And you're like, wow, like you don't remember these things until you have those mental reminders or you see them in real life. And it's pretty crazy. Like, have you, and I know you're talking about that you wanted to maybe go deeper into your content as well and kind of go into more potentially philosophical stuff at all, but have you stepped into that world at all? Like, especially after making money and kind of having success there, you're like, okay, well, maybe try like, I don't know, like my what's his name, Lucas from Blockchain Boy, another fellow NFT person. He was like, yeah, I started like he started reading a lot of Stoicism stuff. Have you gone into the
yeah,
philosophical stuff at all?
yeah, for sure. So uh I actually did a couple of videos about Stoicism. I should probably put it back up on my channel. But Ryan Holiday, so it is called The Obstacle is a Way. That was another really big book. So again, I kind of glossed over my story. So there was some point where I was like failing extremely hard and like literally every single thing that I was doing. I was like, man, like I've tried everything. You know, I failed so many times. I'm just like sitting in my bed, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, am I stupid? Like, is something wrong? Like, do I just not get it? Like, I read these books, I understand that what these people are saying. I'm applying these things, but I'm just not getting results. Is it just not meant to be for me? And it was just like this really
Mm,
big like crisis. And then I like read this book, you know, The Obstacle is the Way, and just really seeing like, you know, there have been people who have been through like this, even though I'm perceiving it to be, you know, my failure to be a certain kind of way. There's been people who have been through much worse than me and still made it out the other side. And you realize like it's a quote, uh, the what stands in the way eventually like becomes the way. Like the obstacle in
mm,
your way, you know, if you can like look at it, it becomes the catalyst of the seed to success. So a lot of those things that I experienced in those failures make it to now where I can fucking, you know, start a new business in like 2 months and generate like six-figure months. Like that's not normal, you know what I mean? So like, but because I had to go through all those negative times and those no, those down things, uh I was able to learn. So definitely stoicism. And it's just like you know, you cannot control like the reality. Like for example, uh, I'm trying to like remember the quotes off the top of my head. I haven't like really specifically read Stoicism, but it's like so deeply ingrained into, I don't know, like it's like you read a book and it's like you read it and then it doesn't sink in, but it's like at some point it just becomes a unconscious
yeah.
part of your psyche and you just like think like that without even knowing that you're thinking about that. So I would say like that's a different unconscious part of my psyche. Like so like when I was going through these things, I'm like, okay, I cannot control the outside world. Like I can't make people buy, I can't do this kind of stuff. Even though I keep failing, all I can do is keep looking deeper into the data of my business, keep looking deeper into the data, keep trying different things and manage my capital in a certain kind of way and you know go through the other side. And then that's when things started to kind of really pop off for me. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the obstacle is the way. That's one thing that really stood out for me is like the obstacle in a way becomes the way. Like eventually, what if you can look into like what you're doing? Like for example, um, whether it be like in entrepreneurship, if you can look deeper into like the reasons why you're failing, and actually take a step back and like not be emotional about it, you will see the fucking like that. Like it's literally the answer is in your failure, right? Like it's inside, but you have to be able to analyze those things and not take it personally and emotionally, and realize that the world is like random and it's chaos, and you don't get to control that, but all you can control is your actions and how you look at things. So you have to focus on what you can control, and like moving and focus on those things, and take action that way. So yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, that's super good. Yeah, guys, someone bookmark that. Definitely buy that book, because I'm gonna be reading that, because there's books interest me, dude. I've gotten into reading in the last few months, and honestly, just the act of reading, and like it literally freezes time. And like when you are a little bit more present, time slows down. Like you almost get time back in a weird way. Like it feels like your life's flying by sometimes, because you feel like a chicken with your head cut off, running in different directions. And if you're an entrepreneur, you get what I'm saying. You just sometimes you feel like you just can't have enough time. But when you can slow down, it does help. And certain books do fucking hit, dude. And like you learn a lot, because as it's basically like I don't even know how it's kind of like a snowball effect. It kind of all accumulates, and then it starts to stuff actualize in your stuff normally, and things just start happening, and things just sometimes fall in place, and you're like, wow, that almost looks like a sign from the fucking universe that I should be doing this. And then you kind of just say, like, let me just roll with this and like see what happens. You start to doubt yourself a little bit less. You start to understand, like you're saying, your psyche a little bit. You start making moves. Did any of that lend itself into like the crypto trading? Because when people hear crypto trade, well, honestly, when people hear trading at all, like for me, I usually get alarms, because I'm like, trading, I'm like, all right, either they're rich as fuck and they threw money at everything and hit a couple, gold mines, and then they just told everyone that they're a trader. But then I started learning about trading and like looking at technical analysis and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people who trade, and I'm like, okay, it's clearly not that. If you understand, you actually can make a shit ton of money. What do you think the core principles are for like trading, and if any of like the Stoicism principles or like the obstacle in the way, have any of those lended itself helpful?
Yeah, definitely, of course. So emotions are the biggest obstacle to making good decisions, right? Especially when it comes to trading. So, uh, you know, again, as I said, like it's just like one thing. Once you become successful in one thing, you find that these skills transfer directly into another thing. So, as we were talking about, controlling your emotions and being able to just, like, I would say with trading, it's mostly just about like making a plan and sticking to that plan consistently, and being able to, uh, weigh the fucking bullishness. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Megaverse, right? So like I won the Megaverse whitelist, and I was just like telling everybody, like in my YouTube video, like back in the day, I was like, look guys, like uh I just broke down a bunch of different reasons of like, why like there's too much speculation inside of this. Like you have to be able to like just take a step back and like look like how much do you think that this thing can go up? Like I don't really think that, like if you look at like all the different projects, like I literally broke it down, and this is like way back in the day. I broke it down and I was like, how many projects have started with like this much speculation and can just continue to go up and up and up? And like people were just talking like way shit. I'm like, bro, you know what the fuck you're talking about? This is the next blue chip. No, bro, like the bat's gonna go up, all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, okay, great. Like I'm just gonna like stick to, because I'm just looking at the data. Like again, if it goes up, that's totally fine. But I'm just gonna make my decision inside of my mind. If it goes up, I don't really care. And if it goes down, that's great as well. And then obviously, I sold my Megaverse at like fucking 6 or 7 ETH, just like I told everybody, and that never went back up higher than that.
Bro, I remember watching those videos, like when you were making those. I remember because you were like, you made a video because you were excited about it. You're like, oh, I got the wireless. I'm gonna be flipping this shit. And I remember watching that and being like, damn, that lucky motherfucker. I wanted a Megaverse.
Yeah, I was excited, but I was just like, I think that this is way too much like speculation. Like usually it's not about what you buy, it's like the price that you buy it at. Like there's a dude named like Mark Howard, and he talks about like he's another like there's Ray Dalio, and then there's Mark Howard. And like all markets, whether it's crypto markets or whether it's crypto stocks or anything like that, it's all just human emotions. It's just dealing with human emotions and making like the right decisions. So like I study these guys who are like literally billionaires, and he goes like he has a part in this, but and I sound like fucking, I don't want to sound like some guy like, oh, I just sit here reading all the fucking time. Like, oh, look at me. Like I mostly just do audiobooks when I'm working out, bro. Like that's what I do. Like I work out like a couple times a week, and I just like listen to like audiobooks when I'm working out, and then like the thing kind of work in my head. So I have physical books, a couple of them, but I mostly just listen to it. Like that's how like I consume like most of these books. But I was listening to like a podcast like Howard Marks, again, like billionaire, talks about your emotions and things like that. And And it's like how much optimism is factored into the price. If it's high optimism, he talks about where back in the 70s when he was investing in all the best companies in the world, companies that people thought could never ever fail, all this kind of stuff, you lost all your money. And if you invested in some of like the shittiest companies, but like not the best companies, but you invested in them when they were like the optimism was low, that's where it made all the money. So it's just about like how much optimism is factored into the price. If there's too much optimism, you know that it's like the optimism is way up here. Maybe the price can go like up here a little bit, but it's very little room, like very little gain. So if you up here with it, you probably should like take profits because it's like too much expectation. Yeah, all these different things is just about controlling emotions, whether it be stoicism, and just really training your emotions. And I think that's really the main thing, that if you can get that under control, you make a plan, because it's really hard once you get into a situation, you can't think clearly because you're just like, oh shit, this thing just went to like $50,000, all this kind of stuff. You're thinking, oh, maybe it can go to 20, all this kind of stuff. And it's impossible to make a decision when you're in that mindset. So you have to, before I'm like, okay, cool, I'm buying this coin at this point. I think that it can hit these different points. And if it hits this point, I'm going to take X, Y, and Z profits, and I make a plan that I feel comfortable with. I don't always, make the maximum amount of profit always all the time, but I've been like consistently profitable, like consistently, like extremely profitable. And like buying ETH at, like I bought like the bulk of my ETH like in the beginning at like $300. I was just like looking at it and I was like, okay, cool. Like this is looking good. Like this looks like a good time to buy. It was like, I said 300. It was like $300 to like $600, that range. So I was like, okay, this looks like a good time. Like everything is like lining up. They're showing like ETH looks good. And this is the time to buy. And like when ETH, I think, tripled or something like that, I sold most of my ETH and then I just put it into, but I was fine. Like obviously it could have went to like 4,000, but I still like made a shit ton of money, because it's not really about like, no decision is really about that particular decision when it comes to like trading Megaverse at the top of the hype, or trading or whatever it is. It's not really about that particular decision. It's about what you making that decision, the impact that it has on your mindset, like looking into the future. So if I make this decision 10 times, is it successful or not? Because maybe that one time that you make it, maybe you would have did well. But if you make this same decision consistently over time, does it lead me into a way that that I'm going to be consistently profitable or getting the results that I want to get or not, right? So that's really like what it's about. And that's how I look at decisions from like a macro view as well. So yeah, man, all those things definitely connect, whether it be like the business success and controlling your emotions. It had an extreme impact on my ability to like do well with like trading crypto and NFTs.
And dude, you control your emotions, you get to finally control your life. Like I've stepped into, sounds so woo-woo, but since we're both going woo-woo with it, like I've got stepped really fucking intensely into meditation. Like I just had a few moments while I was meditating that were just so beyond groundbreaking, as far as just like releasing just like fucking decades of issues in like a second. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I can't believe this happened. And being able to think clearly for the first time in years, because I wasn't plagued by these things that were just like just constantly taking up so much mental energy and mental space that I didn't even realize we're doing it. And I realized, like, holy shit, like when you have a little bit of clarity and finally I've been able to outsource from my editing a little bit of like literal time to think about certain things, like I can make higher quality content. I can make higher quality decisions. I can say, oh, this is actually a better use of my time. Let me do this instead. Like when I normally would have made this decision because my brain's scattered. I got like the monkey mind thing going on. So you're absolutely right there. And when you have the emotional control, you're right with the money side, especially with trading, which took me a long time and pretty much all my net worth going to zero like 3 times, just kind of like you, to realize that there's certain risks that just aren't worth taking. When you're at a point where you've made so much money off of a trade and you go, okay, the chances of us getting another 2x from here are so slim compared to me just taking my profits right here. It'd be so foolish to just keep my money in when I could take all this guaranteed profit. Now, that took me an unfortunate amount of L's before I realized that was true. Do you remember, because I want to talk about some other trading stuff, but do you remember what your biggest loss was in the trading aspect? Was it crypto, stocks, Forex, NFTs?
Maybe it was the NFT. I never really took that. Like I said, like I was pretty fucking disciplined, bro. Like I never really took any massive L's, to be honest with you. The only one was maybe well, I took massive L. Like I said, I took all my massive L's like fucking years ago. So like I knew like to follow. So like yeah, I lost like tens of thousands of dollars when I was first getting started, because I didn't really know what the fuck I was doing when it comes to like business and stuff and like how to think, and I was bumping my head. So by the time I had got to like crypto, I was already, like I said, I'd already like done had learned those lessons that I said that I had carried to that point in my life. But if you want to talk about crypto, it was probably, if you want to talk about NFTs specifically, maybe it was like G Babies. Excuse me, not G. Oh, sorry, fucking GVOs. Sorry, It's
Oh, I was gonna
Jivo.
say, damn, my boy Nicky G, he
Yeah,
lost his
no,
money.
sorry. It's like because it's a baby thing, right? But
Yeah.
again, I don't want to like talk shit about a project or whatever. But I just remember that's when like like this was so early that it was like I don't know if you remember like the sevens.
Oh
So
yeah, dude. Oh yeah, hell yeah, I remember that.
yeah, so like the sevens, like I was like theorizing with one of my friends, like no one even really knew this right now. I was like, when a project, we used to have, I don't think they do this anymore, but back then they used to have like a pre-sale. So it's like the people who are like whitelisted for like 3 days, they would just have their shit listed before the rest of the collection minted.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, and I was like talking, I was like, I'm pretty sure that you could consistently guarantee and depend on people, because if a collection is 3,000 supply and you only have 500 listed and you one of those whitelisted are listed, you should probably always sell that because basic laws of supply and demand, when it's only 500, and it's the same amount of buyers, it's going to push the price higher. But then once you get that extra, fucking 2,500 supply is going to push the price down.
Yep,
but this was so early where like nobody really knew, you know what I mean? Like nobody really knew. Like now we know that like that's the thing that everyone knows, like always like pre-sale the first couple days. But back then it wasn't really like a thing. And I remember with Jivo, this was when ETH was maybe like over $3,000. I think it was like 3.3K or something like that. So I think I put like I think I spent like 1.2K or 1.2 ETH. I mean, it was like right around like $4,000 and some change.
yeah.
And that was probably like one of my only L's, just because I didn't really know. I wouldn't really necessarily. It was just more like a lesson. Like it wasn't like I did something wrong or I didn't follow my plan. I just literally didn't have enough data to like make the decision. But like after that, I was like, no, I never made that decision again.
Yeah.
And that's what and that's why I was able to like just apply that lesson that I learned there and make like way more than I ever lost from it. But yeah, I would say I was pretty. I was like pretty disciplined at that point. But yeah, that was probably like one of the ones I could think of. But like shout out to Jivos, bro. Like, I don't like again, I want to like everyone who's watching this as well. Like they didn't make me buy, bro. Like no one makes you buy. Like even if you watch a video like this, or you watch K's videos, or you watch fucking Giancarlo's videos, or you watch Crypto Gorilla's videos, or you watch Bento Boy's videos, or you watch fucking Bread's videos, or anyone like that. Like, at the end of the day, like I see a lot of people, they get really mad because they say, oh, you talk about this project and then it went to like zero or whatever it is. Yeah, I think like there's obviously like some people, like if you just like hype something up and saying the price is going to go up, something like that, that's one thing. But if you watch a video, someone talks about a project, and then you just go and you buy it, you definitely should take some, like at the end of the day, like you're the person behind like your computer, like pressing like buy or whatever. So you want to always make sure that you, yeah, someone just said, hey, maybe buy. You want to always make sure that, again, as we talked about, like you can't control outside forces. Like the more personal responsibility that you take with your life, like even with something like I've had times in my life where like I could like really point to, oh, this is that person's fault or whatever it is. But what I find is like that doesn't really do anything because it doesn't. And then I look, okay, like is there any way that I could have looked at this situation a little bit different to where if I took more responsibility, if I did more due diligence, that would have made me make a better result. And I said, of course. So you want to always take the lesson, as we said, the seed of the failure, the lesson is in there, right? The obstacle in a way becomes a way. So like you could take an L and then like learn from that and take personal like responsibility and like really, like grow from that shit. So yeah, I just want to kind of say that as well, because again, I just don't want to talk about a project or like when people, I think it's unfortunate when people, they just like watch a YouTube video, like somebody on a random screen, and then they go like, oh shit, I bought this thing because you said it and this and that. And it's like, bro, like, you shouldn't do that. Like never do that. I'm just some fucking dude on the internet. Like you have to like, and if you do buy, you still decide it's a good decision, you make it L, like, take it on the chin. Like that just is what it is. And like that, like that's the lesson next time that you have to like learn from. So I don't want to like sit here and be like, try to like trash Gvos or something like that. I just literally didn't, you know what I mean? I just didn't, I didn't know. And I made a bad decision. I learned from that decision and I moved forward now. I made a bunch of money because I made that bad decision. So, yeah.
I tried to also teach that concept early on in 2021 because you would see all the comments all the fucking time. And I was like, guys, I tried to make it in a way because I feel like when I was in school, I would look at teachers trying to teach us a concept. And it was only when I was older that I realized usually they were right. They just didn't teach it the right way for the set of kids that like they didn't keep in mind the target audience, which was fucking a bunch of 12-year-old kids. And like they just didn't know how to teach it to them. They were teaching it to, like in a way that they would understand, but not to the kids. And I was like, listen, I tried to make it in a way where I was like, you want to be cool, right? A cool person does not fucking blame someone else. They just take accountability and move on. Like that's literally what it is. And so I try to make it like that and like cultivate my audience in that way to where I was like, hopefully the people who watch my videos think in a similar fashion like I do. If you take something, like you just said, you take it on the chin, you fucking move on, and you realize that was pretty much just your fault. And if you're listening to a YouTuber, that's kind of sad. And as far as like trading, I want to hear your thoughts on Forex, because I don't know if you trade at Forex at all. It's a world that I'm interested in, because a lot of my friends here in the city are making great money, and I know part of it's because they have businesses before. But I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons trading crypto and NFTs. And like you said, like you came into crypto, you didn't make as many mistakes because you learned all those lessons before. Curious on your thoughts at all on on Forex trading and any of that world, if you have anything on it.
Yeah, Forex. I never really did Forex, but like I said, I did. I went pretty deep into like the crypto trading, like learning like Ichimoku clouds, like Bollinger Bands, all the supports, 200-day SMAs, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it really works. Like I think like are you saying specifically about like charts and technical analysis, or you mean like more like fundamental analysis, or
Oh man, maybe honestly both. Maybe both.
yeah, I think it takes a understanding of like both. Like for example, I would say technical analysis is generally more applicable in a bull market, just because you have like less external factors. I guess you could say like super big. Like right now we have like a black swan event, fucking like every week, right? Like just like it throws everything off the charts, right? Like it just throws fucking every single thing off. Like for example, like you had USDC, you have Swissy Bank crashing, you have
God.
fucking FTX, you have what is it? Like whatever the fucking 30th bank that crashed in the last like 2 weeks or whatever it is.
I don't even know
So
anymore.
it's just all these different things that that really make a really big effect on, I would say, like the market in a bear market versus like a bull market. But I would say really, like I don't think trading Forex and crypto is really fundamentally that different. It's just like a different asset. Like I think once you learn fundamental technical analysis, I guess you could say, which is like a thing that a lot of people use, you can just like, for example, I could take the same thing that I do in crypto. I could take the same, it's the same principles, right? It's the same
Yep.
principles. And I could just like literally change the chart to a stock, or I can literally change the chart to a currency, like whether it be the DXY, whatever it is, right? So yeah, I think it works. I think right now, as I said, because we are in more of a bear market situation, there's just like too many potential black swans for me to be like actively trading in this kind of market, because it could just come out tomorrow. Oh shit, like something with fucking Russia or something. And it's like, ooh,
True.
like it's just so many things that just can just throw it off. That it's like, in this kind of market. But I do think like it probably like swing back up again, like maybe in 2020, 2024. But usually black swan events are like the time where you can make the most money as well. So like
True.
usually when I see like a really big black swan event, I might like put like just a couple $100 to the side of stuff, just like for fun. Like when FTX first crashed, I was saying people like this is like, I would say like red flag. Like I'm not recommending that you do this, but like usually when you see a token dump like 80% in one day, the next day it will like rebound to some extent just because of people speculating and stuff like that. And then we saw FTX, I think like it went down like fucking 80%, and then like the next day it went up 50%. So that was like a 50% trade or something like that. Same thing with USDC that just happened, the last black swan. USDC went to like 80 cents or 88 cents, and then a bunch of people were like taking advantage of exploiting that USDC and buying like buying assets with it, and then they like got made a bunch of money. So it's like it's all these different things. There's different like methods and things like that. I think it does take a understanding of both fundamental and technical. I really got really into the technical because I learned it in the bull market. I think the biggest things that people can really learn, if you really want to learn, is like RSIs, relative strength index. You want to learn like RSIs, and usually like RSIs below like 30. I could pull up. I just did the charts with my community last night, but usually like RSIs, they don't give so many signals, but they're usually really strong. As far as like if you buy RSI below like fucking 30 on Bitcoin or something like that, that's generally a good buy, or below like 20 or something like that. It's generally like, whenever that happens, you can like, usually that's a pretty strong signal, and a bunch of different other things in Confluence. But I think you have to understand both. And that's how I do it. But I'm not really trading heavily right now just because of the other reasons that I mentioned earlier about, potential black swans and all this kind of stuff. And also I'm just focusing on getting my businesses, back to like, those multiple six-figure months and stuff like that. So
yeah, man, 100%. Hey, listen, guys, for anyone who's watching right now, if you guys want, I'm going to be giving away an NFT. If you want to participate, if you just want like a free, like, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you want like a free NFT, you could enter right now. All you have to do is hit that bottom right icon. And if you're in Space, at least hit that retweet button for the Space. Make sure you're following me and Dante, of course. And then just screenshot wherever you're at. If you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on fucking whatever other 15 other platforms is probably streaming to. Just screenshot where you're at, tweet us and tag us so that I see it. That's all you have to do so that people just know that the stream is going. And that's all you have to do to enter. And I'll choose a winner towards the end of the stream. But if you guys want to participate, again, that's all you have to do. If you're in Twitch right now, you can also win money just by being in the stream. You get 100 points for every 10 minutes you're here. You can exchange those for cash, potential cash prizes. You get basically like a lottery ticket. But yeah, the opportunities to win every fucking stream, which is great because you can use that capital and start to apply it. And like for me, you know what's interesting? I just had a conversation with my friend Cole about this. Is that I think it's because I've been a wannabe YouTuber since 2009. I've been posting videos forever. And only in 2021 did I start to see some success. And man, I've always wanted to like have a YouTube brand. I've always wanted to like have a brand, and I didn't even know what that meant yet. And I had like a whole fitness version of me. Like I did a fitness influencer life for a couple of years in like 2016, 2017, when Instagram was like when Instagram fitness was like massive. I mean, it's still huge, but when it was massive and it was just getting really popping and stuff like that. And I always wanted a brand. And so for me, the idea of throwing my money back into the business was such a obvious play, not even obvious. It was like, what else would I throw my money into? I'm not going to buy some random thing that has nothing to do with my business. I need the business to work because that's what I want. And people aren't always doing that. But if you're watching the stream, there's a high chance that like that's exactly why you're here, because otherwise you probably wouldn't be watching Dante, because that's the type of stuff we're talking about. So yeah, if you guys win these NFTs, that might be your chance. You take a little bit of that money and invest in yourself. Sometimes that's like a course. Like, what do you think? If you were just a normal kid, if you're like, I don't know, 15 to 30 or something like that, and you don't have that much money, but somehow maybe it was like I don't know about this NFT is not gonna be worth $500, but say you just got like a $500 thing, where do you think that would be like best spent?
Yeah, 1 second. I just fucked my screen up. Hold up. And I was trying to address like, should we address some of the comments, or do we do that? Like, because I see somebody like we're talking, and then I see a good question, and I kind of forget about it.
Oh yeah, we can. There is a great question here. I saw. Was it the one about how you learn trading?
Yeah, Cats and Dogs. He's actually from a part of my Discord. How do I get this shit off my screen, bro? Like, I got
what did you do?
I don't know. It's just annoying.
Or what does it look like?
It's like it says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you, and then it's like on the side, and it's like a overlay.
The overlay is there. It's part of the like on the right side of the screen with the comments.
Yeah, for me it's on the left, but it wasn't there, and then it just popped up.
Shit. Great question. I do not know.
Yeah, if not, we can just keep it moving, I guess.
Okay.
But let me see. Okay, cool. All right, I fixed it.
Oh, nice.
So what did I learn to trade? Fuck, man, like I learned to trade from like the OG. So like the way that I look at information is like I value good information over new information. Like most people's brains is they value like new stuff. Like for example, and I learned this again from like just reading like Ray Dalio and the greats and all this kind of stuff. Like, like because the way that our human brains work is like we crave novelty. Like so, like for example, you want to watch the fucking like, every like the next 10th new business video that's telling you about this, but like there's like literally better shit that has been written by like more successful people that lived 100 years ago or something like that like still apply today, or like maybe even you just take it from like one source. So like I can't remember. I think it was like one called trading. It's called I can't think of the names, but I would say like it's definitely I learned the Ichimoku Cloud. I like went super deep because like I had like a ton of time and stuff. So I bought a bunch of different trading courses. I literally spent like probably a couple thousand on like trading courses. I spent like a bunch of hours and things like this. Man, I can't think. I don't want to like quote. It's called like trading the zone or trading the something like that, or trading. I don't know. It was like a bunch of different people, but it's like old school people that like literally like the guy who like created the Ichimoku Cloud. Learned from like just a bunch of different things, a bunch of different courses and stuff like that. So I just really like the same thing I do with Ecom or something like that. Like I just like, okay, who's the best at this? Who's like the OG that fucking make the most money? I find like the best people and then like understand it from them and learn from them exactly like who are actually getting results. And then that's what I like just like went super deep on. And then I like started to like notice these patterns and things start to click together. But he said cool. So courses. Yeah, a bunch of different courses, but it was some stuff on YouTube as well. I don't know if it's still around, but it was a combination of like paid courses and OGs. How do I scroll? Can I scroll down? Someone asked about RSI. I can explain the RSI like really quick. RSI stands for Relative Strength Index. So basically, when you see an RSI, it just tells you like how strong a coin is relatively right now based on all its history and data. So if an RSI, like a really easy to understand is if an RSI, if you look on a chart and you see an RSI that's like 100, sell that shit immediately because it's about to crash super hard. Because it's just like it's just what we talked about, like speculation. Like you can go into your charts right now, and I actually started building like my own custom tools and bots. I used to sell them. I don't sell them anymore. I just use them myself. But like I started like these things that I was understanding. I started hiring like coders and programmers to build like my own custom tools and bots. So like for example, like I have like a tool that like once the RSI goes over a certain amount, it will flash orange, then it will flash red. Like reds never fucking last. Like that's when the RSI gets like literally in a bull run where you see like like a coin like peak up. Usually you got like a day or two before that crashes like 30 or 40% or has like a super big correction. But even RSIs above like 60 or 70, you're getting kind of like the dangerous range. Like right now, I believe the RSI on Bitcoin is like 62, and we're about to hit some resistance. So that's something that you want to really watch out for because it can really go either way, but it's in the middle. But when RSIs are historically weak, like if you look at Bitcoin, you look at an RSI chart on the daily, and you see an RSI as like 20 or 30 or something like that, that's pretty rare, or even a 10. A 10 RSI that's usually like that, usually like never lasts in the same. It's the opposite of the take profit one. It's the opposite because usually when it's that weak, it just doesn't last, and you'll see like the price will bounce back to kind of like the normal range. So that's kind of like it just stands for relative strength index, and like based off all this historical data, how strong is a particular asset in this current moment. And usually you can just trade off the extremes, and those are like some of the best plays possible that you can make. Like literally, you can like look at all of them in history when they get like so weak, they just don't flash so many signals, right? So like, it's not so often that you can like make all these different trades unless you want to look on like lower time frames. But that's like a quick understanding of like RSI. I actually I have a free course. I used to have it. I don't really put it out anymore because like I said, I just like focus on business that teaches RSI. But yeah, sorry, I just want to address some of those questions. I appreciate the people asking questions. And DWC Crypto Tech, what's up, man? Cats and Dog, what's up, man? Cats and not dogs. And where you were saying about investing, right? You were saying like if someone had 500.
Well, honestly, I was gonna say you kind of answered it in a roundabout way. You were like the courses and then just applying. Like that was kind of the same with me too. Like it doesn't have to be courses specifically, but some type of educational content, and then go try stuff and go ruffle your own feathers and see what kind of happens. Because every single time, whether it's a good or bad thing, you take something from it. It's the data. You trade that experience, you trade the win or the loss for a little bit of data that you get from it. One question I wanted that came up immediately in my head, and again, shout out to everyone in the stream, shout out to Bet Fury, shout out to everyone in the spaces. If you're enjoying this conversation, make sure you hit that retweet. We do have a giveaway going on for a free NFT. Just got to retweet, follow us, screenshot where you're at, and tweet and tag us. That's all I have to do. It's all you got to do to enter. But I had a conversation with my friend Casey. He's super fucking smart, really, really successful dude. He worked on OpenAI back in 2017 or whatever it was in the very beginning. And he told me, he was like, dude, when we were working on this stuff, beta stuff, like really beta stuff, he goes, that motherfucker predicted Bitcoin's pump to 69K to the day. He was like, to the day, years in advance. And I was like, what? He's like, bro, you don't understand how crazy this shit is. Tell me your thoughts on it, because you told me that you're using AI to help build out some of your business right now that are making real money, that are doing real stuff. That's not a very common thing for people in general. A lot of people aren't really using it. I'm using it for my script writing. I'm using it for hooks and stuff. I'm loving it, but I'm not really using it for like business stuff unless it's like a very specific thing. Talk to me about AI, what your thoughts are on it, the relative like potential of it in the near future of like, I don't know, 1 to 2 years kind of thing for most people, just because anything after that becomes a little bit of just like speculation.
Yeah, I think AI will, like right now, just so you guys know, I actually did like a short demo on like how I use AI last night with my community again, DWC. If you want to check it out, you can check it out now. That's fine. I'm not trying to like, I'm not here to like fucking pump or whatever. But I just like, I actually did this last night. So that's why I bring it up. But I was like showing them, we were talking, and I was just telling them like, they were like, oh, what are you doing right now? Like kind of like the same question that you're asking right now. Like, what am I doing in this markets? And I was like, yeah, I'm focusing on like businesses and stuff. Like fucking ChatGPT and AI is like completely crushing it right now. And for me, like again, like not just making the videos, but actually doing it. And then I gave them a demo. So what I did was like, for example, I would go on and I would say like, I mean, I know like some of the angles of the products, but I just did an example. So I would say like, all right, let's say you want to sell beard oil right now. So I asked ChatGPT I say, I would ask it 2 different questions. Give me 5 marketing angles to sell beard oil, and what are the 5 most common reasons that people like buy beard oil, or the 5 most common problems that people need when they have beard oil. And they were like write down like all this stuff, and it was like beard itch and stuff like this, and then they like wrote all these different headlines and stuff like that. And it was just like it's like really compelling marketing content. Now you have to really understand still like the marketing, how to like place the headlines and stuff. But that's mostly how I use it because my skill set, as I talk about, you know, and this is in my last video on YouTube as well, is it's just about leverage. Like you have to understand how to like leverage your time and your energy. And if you guys don't know what leverage is, like when you go on a fucking exchange, when they say leverage, that means like something goes up $1 and like you may gain or lose $100, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with leverage in real life. Like leverage is just an multiplier of your outputs. So if you wanted to like gain leverage, it takes the same amount of time and energy to learn $1 million skill as it does to make a $10 per hour skill, right? So if you spend, let's say like 40 hours a week learning on how to flip fucking McDonald's hamburgers, not a very highly leveraged skill, right? Versus if you spend 40 hours a week learning how to, you know, learning advertising, marketing, psychology, and maybe learning like the specific, you know, specifics of whatever advertising platform you want to use, whether it be Google, Google search, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is. That's a highly leveraged skill because that skill, if you spend the same amount of energy and time in that skill, you can actually, make 100 times more, right? So that's how I use it because I'm like, that's my highly leveraged skill because sales and marketing is everything, right? Like literally everything is sales, like everything. Like you look at every big business, that's like everything is sales. Like that's how like everything in the world works. That's how everyone makes everything through sales. So me, I use it in my like advertising and marketing and coming up with like different angles and then applying that and actually testing those angles. So I'll say, come up with me 5 different angles to sell this beard oil. It'll be okay, cool. Sell it from the itch, sell it from the dandruff standpoint, sell it from you want like you have a scraggly beard, you want to grow a thicker beard, and then I would like go deeper into that. Okay, give me 5 headlines for this particular point right here, and then I would like split test those different headlines and those different ads and a combination of those things. Come up with images and stuff like that, and then like just build out the sales funnel, and then we will test those different ads and those different angles, and then scale up the winning angle. So that's how I really see it, and I really like make like fucking I do pretty good using ChatGPT. So I think definitely right now, I would say that the biggest people whose jobs are going to be in jeopardy probably are going to be like copywriters and people who probably like coders, but I don't think like I think like maybe like low level coders, but high level coders, I think all these people will still have a place. It's mostly just getting rid of like low level busy work. But I do think that there does reach a time where AI will start to take like a lot of jobs, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I think it's gonna be really good, but I think it's gonna shift things in a way. With all disruptive technology, it can shift things. But I don't know because people used to say the same thing about horses and cars back then. Like, oh shit, like people were fucking, like all these cars are gonna come and like take all the jobs of people who are like, doing all the horse and buggy stuff, and then we kind of adapt. So it'll be interesting to see how we do. But it's a definitely a societal shifting technology.
It's a big one. It's like the biggest one in our generally probably in our lifetime, potentially in our lifetime. I know the internet was huge too, but like for us, for people my age at least, like we always had that. It's like in the last 20 years, kind of like for the most part, have had some level of tech kind of growing up. But with AI, like, dude, I mean, right now, not even AI, the fact that like servers, bro, waiters, like that's a huge fucking industry, and we're already seeing like at the restaurant, the Yard House down the street, they have little like iPad things right there. And I'm like, dude, at what point do we literally just not need the waiters? Like, why are the waiters even there? This way, if they have a literal iPad, we can order. What is the point of the waiter? There's no reason. And that's like a huge, and like they make a ton of money too. There's like a bunch of people who've been waiting tables for years because it makes them a ton of money. Or bartenders are probably safe because that's a specific skill set that's a little bit harder to replicate there. But anyways, yeah, that was just a really interesting discussion. I want to hear your thoughts on that. Guys, if you haven't entered the giveaway, you have about like 2 minutes to enter this giveaway. All you have to do is retweet, follow us, and then screenshot wherever you're at, and then tweet it and tag us so I see it if you want to win a free NFT. But I wanted to ask a couple questions more poking at you before kind of all this stuff happened, just because I just think it gives you like extra context and kind of almost amplifies your message more than it did. Even though the first few minutes, the first like 20 minutes, I feel like really opened up a new side of you that I hadn't seen before. That gave me a lot more context on the information that we kind of like jam-packed into this podcast the last 40 minutes. So I thought it was amazing. But like before you got into the world of like, I read this book at 16 and it changed everything I thought about it. Were you lazy as fuck before? Were you thinking about these things? Were you into sports? Like what were you doing right before that period of life?
Before that period of life, I was not lazy. I was just really just interested. Like for example, I really noticed that, and again, like I don't want to. I fucking love my mom and dad, you know, like, but it didn't really seem like they loved their jobs. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's just like this thing that just felt like something that you like had to do. And then like back then I was actually I like really used to be into like skateboarding. So like a big influence of mine was like Paul Rodriguez. I don't know if you know like P Rod,
I do.
skating
I
and
actually
stuff.
do
Like I would just like see people like doing awesome shit. Like I would see like Paul Rodriguez, like Kobe Bryant, or like fucking like Kanye, like all these like different guys like just doing shit that they love and like making a ton of money. And I was like, I want to be like that. Like I don't want to fucking like work these shitty ass jobs and like you know what I mean. And like again, like I had a you know like I had a pretty working class background. We wasn't like rich or anything, but we wasn't dirt poor. I mean, my neighborhood was like in the middle or whatever. A little dangerous at times, but it wasn't like fucking insane or something like that. But it was just like so I just really gravitated to like people who like did like great things, and I wanted to like learn more about that. So like really like the first thing that I really ever wanted to be was a professional skateboarder, believe it or not. And I got really good. Like I actually used to get like free shoes and stuff like that. Like I have some like old skate videos and stuff like that I used to
Hey,
do. Uh, but um, but yeah, man, that's like when I found something that I really wanted to do, I was really into it. But like something that I really didn't want to do, I didn't give a fuck about it. Like I said, like at school, I just was not motivated at school because I was just like, this shit does not matter. Like I was just like, I just had this feeling that everybody was full of shit. Like I don't know, like how
mm,
you said,
wow.
like I know it sounds like crazy, but like it sounds like I don't know, man. Like I just felt like I just had this like belief, like I was like, I don't want to be like these people and I don't want to do these things. So like I'm just gonna like focus. I don't know where that comes from, and I think maybe because my dad also as well. Like fun fact, my dad he was entrepreneurial, and I don't know. Like I try to like think of that myself. Like why am I like this? Like I literally try to like study myself. Like why did I do this like very particular series of events that's like not normal at all? When I look at like some of the stuff that I did, like you got to be like psychopathic or something. Like no one told you to do this, and like you know, like to stick through like all this pain and all this kind of stuff to like go through this. Like why am I like this? I think one thing that had a really big to do with like why I think like this is because I was an only child. So
Mm,
like I have a sister today, but she was born when I was like 24, 25. So I grew up I was already living outside the house by the time she was born. But I
wow.
think me being an only child, like I always thought very individually because I didn't really have any like external
Yeah,
you know
wow.
influences or whatever it is. So I like really thought things through for myself, and I
Mm,
saw things through like a very individual like lens or something like that. So I think that's like one big way. And another thing, the only other thing that I can think of is that my dad he had like a trucking business. So I did see like entrepreneurship and stuff like that. Again, I wasn't really involved in it, but I just kind of like knew about it. That's the only things that I can think about. But other than that, I don't know. I just naturally gravitated to this kind of content. And again, like when I was in school and stuff, like I just like did enough to get by, bro. Like I did like I think in school I made like C's and D's, like just enough to get by. Like I had some A's in some classes, but it wasn't that I didn't like I wasn't smart or anything. I just didn't care. Like I was just like this is like super doesn't interest me. And then like
yeah.
stuff that like I really cared about, I would like go 100 in, and I would be like super into it and super focused. I want to be the best in the fucking world at it and like better
What
than anyone at
classes
it.
were they?
Yeah. Oh, classes.
Yeah, which classes did you
What?
like?
Oh, it wasn't really necessarily like classes, I would say, but it was just stuff that like I said, like business, like before it was like entrepreneurship and business and stuff like that was like the stuff that I really like kind of fell in love with. It
Yeah.
was nothing really in school that I can like really say like I mean say that I really like what like I'm trying to think about maybe like shop class, wood shop class, fucking PE or something. Like I gotta
Yeah.
hang out with my friends and like work out.
Same.
But other than that, I just like lacked the utility. Like I was just like I know I'm never going to use this. Like I know I'm never going to fucking like this PX square plus, and still to this day I haven't used it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't know. It just felt like I was just like being put through a rabbit hole, and I
Yeah.
wasn't really interested in it. So I wanted to like really find like the truth of the world and that just kind of like what I felt. And again, like a lot of people, again, I'm not telling you guys like don't go to school or whatever. I would say like again, like the way that I thought about stuff and the way that I did things, I would say that it is extremely not normal. Like it's like I know, like for example, like I would like come up with these ideas like for the summer. Like I would tell my friend, oh yeah, let's do this and that, and then like we'll make like fucking 12 grand, 20 grand like over a summer,
Oh,
like just like doing some like business because I was like into it and I was like, oh shit, I
yeah.
learned this eBay business and I would like flip. Like I remember I flipped like I was in middle school and my parents wanted me to play trumpet. And then like after I didn't play the trumpet for like a couple of years, I remember just a trumpet just like sitting in there. No, this shit worked like $300-400. So I just like put that shit on eBay. I sold it. I don't think they ever knew it. They
Oh.
never brought it up or anything. Like I don't think they ever like realized that I sold that shit. They probably did now, but it doesn't matter. But but like
Your
I
parents watching
sold
this
that.
after they're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up like selling that trumpet and then I like bought some other shit, some headphones from China and like flipped that shit on Craigslist. And I was just
Mm,
like get money. Like I was just like, cause I was interested in that. I was just interested in this kind of like psychology thing.
mm,
And yeah, like when I love something, I was like really into it. And then when I didn't, I wasn't passionate. I really liked Halo 3 back in the day. I really wish, bro, I was cold as fuck on Halo. I don't remember if you like this was before streaming or like that stuff wasn't around. I was just like, man, if that
yeah,
shit was around when I started, like I would have been big because I was really good. And like we used to have like big lobbies and it was like really entertaining. This was like Halo 3, Halo 3 like back in the day and stuff. So like that's probably like another thing I was into. But that's kind of like my life, man. I just was just I could say the biggest thing that probably that affected like my mindset in a way that I couldn't understand at the time was just being like randomly born an only child and how that affected my psyche in a way that I like analyze the world and think about things and being like kind of adjacent to entrepreneurship, like with my dad. But other than that, like I would think I was just in the middle. I wasn't like super lazy. I wasn't like super like when I was super passionate when I found something that I liked, but when I didn't, I was like super against it. And I was just like, I don't know why is everybody trying to make me do this thing that I don't want to do. That doesn't
mm,
I can't even really tell me like why I should do it. Than to say like, oh, you should do it. Like so,
yeah.
I, don't know.
Well, I would
I
say
was
like
disagreeable.
well, I was gonna say, like, I feel like there's probably a lot of people who kind of share those same thoughts, especially growing up in school. Like, I remember I had some of those thoughts. I never always acted on them at that age. I just don't think I was ready, like, mentally to do something like that. And I was like, well, like, I'm not exactly sure how to do it. And the benefit is now we have social media. We got people telling us, yo, they're, okay, that people were like, were not telling me that these things were possible. Like, it's funny because I told this to my friend Cruz yesterday, like a week ago, and I was we were on the top floor of this building. It's like the 50th floor looking over the whole city. And I was like, God damn, like just being up here is breaking limiting beliefs. Like being able to just the fact that I'm here right now is weird. Like how the fuck am I here right now? Surrounded by these people who are crushing it, all really nice human beings. I've become friends with them in the last 6 months or so. And I just remember thinking in like high school, like I never had anyone who broke those beliefs for me. Like my dad was he grew up in a very conservative household, like, just work your way up the corporate ladder. My dad worked the 9 to 5s, and that's kind of how I perceived him. My mom didn't even realize growing up, but she's literally is an entrepreneur. I don't think I was like, again, I don't think I was like woken up or something to it. Didn't realize, didn't acknowledge it. Maybe it was because I had a bunch of like issues with my family that I just couldn't look past it or whatever. But then like as I got older, I was kind of seeing, oh shit, my dad like has done some crazy shit. Now he's up there in Silicon Valley doing his thing. And a few years ago, he was just teaching at a school as a high school teacher, and I thought he was a nerd. I thought he was like almost like a loser at some points because he was just a teacher, but he was also doing all this stuff. He was like side hustles on side hustles on side hustles. But I never growing up had those people. So if you guys are watching this and you are having those same thoughts that Dante was talking about, like, man, I feel like this isn't gonna help me. I feel like I want to do this. Like, bro, fucking watch some Gary Vee. Like, I'm not kidding. Go watch some Gary Vee and let him pump some fucking like real motivation and just like, yo, get off your ass and go. Cause that's kind of how I did it. You can try that. It may not work for you, but I just kind of, I got excited about certain things and I was like, man, I just can't get off my ass and do it. I found some people that got me off my ass to do it. Had some other people, YouTubers, Instagram, whoever it is, to show me what's actually possible at a certain young age, even sometimes just gave me something to shoot for. And that helped me tremendously, dude. I wonder how different you would be if you had a sibling growing up. Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, what would have been different?
Yeah, probably almost certainly so, right? Because it would have just affected how like I think when you're an only child, it definitely affects your psyche in a different kind of way because again, like everything is just so individual. Like I did have my cousins growing up, like my cousins, I was over their house like every week, every weekend or this kind of thing. And I like was raised with my aunties or whatever. So like, I mean, they were like my brothers pretty much because we used to go
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 days of the week. But it just like I was just an individual. So like I synthesized all information like through like my actual thought processes and things had to make sense to me. It's not like I had like a group or something like that. That I'm like, oh, okay, like I have to be agreeable to like X, Y, and Z to like get along. And like I think how you really start life is like like the first, like they say, give me the first 12 years of someone's life and you have the rest, right? I think really like in those early years, it's going to really affect how you like synthesize information. So I think if I would have had like, let's say like going from being an only child, let's say the exact opposite of that, where like, let's say my parents had 6 kids. I think that would have been a lot more agreeable because I just would have, especially if I was like in the middle of the pack or something like that, because I would have had to been a person that's agreeing to a particular group or things to like learn how to get along in life and just like accept answers and stuff. But when I'm individual, everything I'm doing, it just has to make sense for me. Like I have to like everything I'm doing is just like I'm doing things because like I have, you know, I only have like one, you know, one toys. I share my toys with myself. I don't have to like I play with them the way that I want to. I
Yeah.
do, you know what I mean? Like so, like, you're like super individual, and shit had to like make sense. So like on a deeper level, I think that really affects. So like when I got older, it just like when shit didn't make sense to me, I would just like go back to like thinking like my
Yeah.
only child brain. It's just like this shit don't make no fucking sense, man. They're just saying something, and then like you know, you know, and it was true though. Like
Yeah.
you know, I think like you see that with people who are like really successful, that's like a common trait is that they're like extremely disagreeable. You know, like
Mm,
they're like don't like because obviously most of society is going to push people, rightfully so. Like I don't think like even when I look at the stuff that I did, like I think that it's like a very particular like set of circumstances and like mindsets and stuff like that that just like all fucking connected together that like created like how I am right now.
mm,
But for the most part, society really pushes people into like a really you know, like you said, like a very particular path. You know, go to school, get a job, do this and that, and it's not really necessarily, I would say, for a lot of people, necessarily the most like prosperous way or best way, or you know, like we're highly individual. But you know, society, like I get it from a societal standpoint, right? Because like from a societal standpoint, you have to do what works for like 90% of people. So if you're the 10% of people or the 1% of people that's at the top, then that don't work for you. And if you are the 10% of the 1%, you're just always going to be there anyway. So like you'll figure it out. But like society has to push people into like you know the average and mediocre person. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's nothing wrong with being average, but like society has to structure things that like most people can like go through a certain
right.
kind of system or funnel and they'll be kind of okay, right? So like I would say that the route that I took is like particularly hard. Also, as well, I want to make a side note. For me, I would definitely recommend that people check out like a guy that I really like right now. Is Alex Hormozy. His stuff is really good because I think that motivation is really good, but motivation is very it's a very different thing between motivation and discipline. And because like motivation is to get you like motivated, like for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but discipline is what you do uh, when you're not motivated, when you don't want to do those things, right?
Mm,
Because again, like if you look at someone like Usain Bolt, uh, you know, he doesn't want to fucking run all the time. Like he's like, oh man, I'll work out. Like I'm really tired. You know, I'm really tired today. I don't really feel like running, but he just does it anyway because he wants to be the best. He has discipline, and there's a bunch of different reasons why that is. The same thing with me, right? Like you know, I had lost motivation a long time ago, but I had like a deeper like burning and reason in deep inside of me that was probably, uh, you know, probably like from some traumas or whatever. Like I think a lot of like the great things that happens too. Like when I look back, it was like, oh, I want to be good enough for like whatever. Like I think like when people want to be great or you want to like be extraordinary or stand out or something like that, usually that is like a compensation for like something that you feel like you lacked maybe growing up or maybe in school or something like that. It's like extremely common. It definitely was the case in my case. Now looking back, like and again, like it's so small, right? Like you look at it now, it's just like yeah, everyone goes through the things
mm,
like maybe in high school, like you know, you didn't feel like cool enough, or you didn't feel like people paid you attention, or like you know, like you didn't feel like people took you seriously or took your dream seriously or you felt ignored or whatever it is, you feel small, you feel all these kind of different things. This is like common things that people go through, and usually you know that can show itself in like negative ways where like people you know they you know do like bad things for attention or something like that, and a lot of the times it can show us a way, you know, it can manifest in good ways where like you know, okay, cool, like okay, I'll show you that I'm good enough, I'll be fucking successful, and like you know I definitely had a lot of that. Like I was like, I'll show you motherfuckers, you know,
yeah, dude.
that was like my mindset, like for sure. Like I was like, I'll show you motherfuckers, like all of you. And I guess it worked. Like I
Yeah,
don't
I
know,
was
like
gonna say, goddamn.
yeah, it worked to some extent. It worked to like I guess a lot of extent. But not necessarily the healthiest way, but I don't really know as well. Like it just, I mean, who cares, man? Like it's just like whatever gets you the results as well. Like, you know, everything doesn't have to be all like positive. Like you look at like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and all these kind of guys. The way they were motivated, like they're not motivated from you know, they don't want to fucking lose. You know what I mean? Like they have to like they put like I don't know if you saw like the Michael Jordan documentary or the Kobe documentary, but they would like imagine that like their fucking families would die if they don't like fucking like give it their all. Like they would like put like crazy shit in their head, so they like playing like to the max of their abilities. Like they would put like that's how they do. Like they're
Yeah.
not motivated from being the best. They don't want to lose, right? So you know, it's just a bunch of different stuff there. But yeah, a couple people that I would recommend again is like Alex Hormozy, Tim Ferriss is pretty good. Like 4 Hour Work Week. Let me see.
See someone here, Cat Snotdick says, watch Goggins, he'll sort you out. For sure,
Yeah,
Goggins will help. He will
yeah,
help.
David Goggins
You need some
is really
discipline.
good.
He's good at explaining those concepts, you know. And one thing you just to go back to real quick about you said the thing you said about kids in high school not feeling good enough, being compared and stuff. It's crazy because everyone reacted to that in real time differently. So it's like pretty much everyone had those thoughts. I mean, maybe aside from certain people who had just a supreme level of self-confidence, probably given
The
by their
fucking
mom or
chads,
something.
bro. Like the fucking 1% of like
Dude,
chads and just like that.
literally, bro. But there was a lot of people who were chads who were just as unconfident as you. They instead of retreating, they fucking went on the offense, you know. And you don't know because like only now maybe you look at their Instagram or whatever if you're following them and you say, oh shit, like maybe like we've just manifested differently. Like there's a lot of people who I went to high school with who in my mind, I feel like I've peaked now versus like in high school, I feel like they peaked then. And I was so insecure about that they were like already doing so well. I was like, man, they're just going to only do better. I'm going to be so far behind them. When now I look and I'm like, damn, well, I caught up. I was on a completely different path. I just reacted differently in high school, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
100%.
it all comes from. I had a lot of that too, man. Like you just feel like not good enough in so many ways, right? Like not good enough, not cool enough, not this, just not enough. Like however you fill in the blank, right? I think everyone has that to some extent, and I felt that strongly in a lot of different ways, and that kind of like manifested itself in me wanting to be successful and be this kind of stuff to show everyone that I was good enough. So
Yeah. Did you have a lowest point? Do you have like a lowest point or was it kind of just like a bunch of random
yeah,
stuff?
I do, man. I had a I had a point where it was right before success. Like it's just like as we say, like this was after like I told you earlier. I don't know. This was maybe like 2014, maybe 2014, 2013, where all right, this would be a cool story, I guess. All right, so when I was reading a book for our work week, and the part that really stands out to me is it calls like fear setting.
Mm-hmm.
So fear setting is basically just pointing out like what's the worst that can happen. And usually what happens is you realize that this thing that you're like creating in your mind, like you're like, oh my God, like this big devil that you're creating in your mind of this negative thing that you're making. Usually when you go, okay, cool. Like I was at this point in my life where I was like, I want to like focus on business. And at that time, like I actually dropped out of school to like focus on business. But before I made the decision, I was like, man, like I'm in school, I'm already making money. Like I said, I like codes, like, you know, you know, tens of thousands of dollar contracts and stuff like that. I know I'm making more money than my teacher, to be honest. And I was just like sitting in college and I was just like, I want to focus on this. Like I can make this big. And I was just like writing it down. So like the fear setting is like, okay, like what are you afraid of? So I was like, okay, if I drop out of college, my mom might not want to talk to me. My friends, family might think I'm a loser. All this kind of stuff. Also, as well, all these different things. So from a scale of 1 through 10, what's the chances that your mom would never fucking talk to you again if you drop out of college? Maybe like a fucking 1. Like I don't think she's gonna never talk to me again. Okay, what's the chances that your friends are never gonna talk to you again? Like probably like a 1 or 2. If you drop out of college, like can you like what's it that I'll be a failure or a loser? Well, I can go back to college, so maybe that's like a 4.
Yeah.
And then like you write these things down, and then it just like lost. I was just like, what the fuck am I afraid of? And then I like asked myself the opposite. So like the not taking action also has consequences. So I was like, what happens if you don't do this thing that you want to do now? I will always look back on the rest of my life and wonder what would have happened if I would have took it. That was like a negative 1 million to me. That was like the worst thing, like at the end of my life, if I looked back. So I was like, okay, like these things are like a temporary 1 or 2, maybe 4 at the worst. And this thing is a permanent negative 1 million that I will always like, if I never did it, I would like always look back at my life and be like, what if I like fucking went after my dream? So I made the decision. And then like right after I made that decision, I dropped out. Like my mom was like a little bad, but she like supported me. Like basically she was like, if you fuck up your life, you know, it's on you. She talked to me, gave me a serious talk. And then she was like cool after that.
Yeah.
And she saw I was like working every day. I was working so hard. Like I was in the garage and like I was working. My friends didn't care. Everything was, you know, in my case, it was like kind of like, it was just on me. I was like, okay, cool. And then right after that, the business basically failed and like the clients dried up. I still had some money there. I tried a bunch of different ideas. And basically I lost like every single thing. Like after I dropped out of college, like lost every single thing. And like everything I tried was just failing. And that's when like I really like looked at it. I was like, man, like is something wrong with me? Am I just fucking stupid? Or like, am I just like, you know what I mean? Like literally I was like, I must, because I understand, like I swear I understand everything that I'm reading. I understand I'm taking all these actions, but I'm just not getting the results. Maybe it's just not meant for me. Maybe I'm not the chosen one. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm dumb, like all this kind of stuff. And I was just like sitting there and just like this feeling of like fucking, I remember just like laying in my bed and just like looking like just a feeling of like defeat, sadness, depression, like all this kind of stuff, just feeling like a loser. And then I remember like I probably had like less than 1,000. Like I had like probably like 20K. I had like maybe like 30K or something like that I built up. But again, I had lost it in so many ways, trying different stuff. And I remember like the only thing that was like good about my day back then, because I had like so much anxiety and stuff about I had so much anxiety and stuff about like doing business. Like I just had like anxiety because I was just like, oh fuck, I'm going to be a loser. Like all my, this is not going to work. And the only good thing that I used to have in my days back then was like just there's like a little small park and it had a lake, and I would just go there and I would just like write and journal. And I remember I was like driving at the time and I have really no money. And then I would like drive to this park, and then like my fucking car broke down. I didn't have enough money to like fix my car. I was like, fuck it, I'll still go to the park. I could still go to the park. And then I was trying to like I rode my bike to the park, then my fucking bike broke. You know what I mean? And then like it just seemed like all these different things. It was like literally, bro. I was like, what the fuck, bro? It's like it literally felt like the universe was like, fuck you. Like like literally, like I was feeling like all these different stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like that was probably like my lowest point. And then like right after that, I took like the rest of the money that I had. I was like, you know what? I started reading like the obstacles away. I started reading these books. I was like, Dante, you cannot control these things. All I can really do is take the lessons that I've learned, like move forward. And I had so many lessons. I was like journaling every day and like learning all these different things. And even though I was at my lowest point, I was like, sitting here crying, being sad. I'm not dead. I still have my health. My mom loves me. I still have a house. I'm not on the street. And I was just like thinking about all these different ways. And I was like, you know what? I can still do this. And then I tried this drop shipping business. Yeah. Like long story short, probably a couple months after like starting that business, I almost lost like the rest of the money that I had. And then that story happened that I told you earlier where I was sitting in there, and then I made like fucking $10, $20, $30,000 a day, and then eventually millions, and that changed my life. So so it's like the lowest point in my life directly was reflected. As I said, the obstacle in a way becomes a way. Like I could have quit. Like most people, that's what I said. Like that shit was insane, bro. Like literally, I was feeling like no one should feel like this. Like I was like feeling like a loser, like worthless. Like I remember like my birthday happened and I just like cried because like the situation that I was in. And I never really talked about this shit before, but yeah, it was pretty low. But I just like kind of pushed through it. It's just like kind of
and now it's perfect. Like the story's incredible. It's like it's almost like it was painted beautifully, like a poem. It's like beautifully written. Like everything went wrong. He hit rock bottom. His car broke down. Then his fucking bike broke down. We pummeled this kid into the fucking dirt. And then he rose like a phoenix. Like, and when you see it after, it's like, wow, it had to happen like that. Otherwise, you never would have gotten that first client. I've had a couple of those situations where I was overwhelmed by like the big feeling. And then I something happened and I'm like, wow, that needed to happen. Goddamn. Like I really, really didn't want that to happen. And it sucked. It sucked so bad. I really thought it was over. And then I look back and I'm like, damn, like I guess it needed to happen because I'm fine. And you realize like, as you get older and you like rack up experiences and stuff, that like the only thing that is fucking eternal, and this is going to get really hippie, but like the only thing that's eternal is literally yourself. Every other thing is just an event or an experience, but either way, it's just an event that happened in your past. And once it happened, it only resides up here. It only resides in your memory. And I was reading some book and it was like, yo, you get burned one time on a stovetop. Do you burn yourself every single time to remind yourself that it's going to be hot every time? You're like, no, you just remember that it hurt and you just let that thing just kind of like, you just accept that, you let it go. But you don't forget that kind of lesson. And it's kind of like that with those events and those experiences. You can let them go while still remembering like kind of what happened and what it taught you. So dude, that was a fucking, well, hey, thank you for sharing that story because that was beautifully written. Now that's a story, but it was a super intense story, man. And I think a lot of people will touch them. And Louise actually had a follow-up question to that, had nothing to do with that story. But and before we ask this question about taking profits from NFTs into real estate, I do want to select this winner real quick. So guys, you have about 3 seconds. So literally screenshot it and tag us right now. Retweet the space if you want to enter this giveaway for a free NFT. I don't even know what it is yet. I just got to roll through my wallet after this stream. I'm just going to scroll. I need to see where all the things are. Here we go. Just gonna scroll. Here we go. I got a sound effect here. Hold on. It's this one. It's fuck. Crickets. I think it's this one. Here we go. Oh Jesus Christ. Wait. This is the one. All right. And it's gonna be, where the fuck are the entries? There they are. There they are. All right. It is going to be Jack of all trades.eth, Jack Ronan. Congratulations. You have won the NFT. Fuck yes. Let's go. Shout out to everyone who's listening here. Thank you for all sharing the space and stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Jack of all trades. I'm going to I know that's Jack, but I'm going to DM you, Jack, real quick and say, you are the winner. Let's fucking go, dude. You want a free NFT? And shout out everyone who's been in the space.
Shout out to Jack.
We really love you. Noah, I see Noah in here. Says Dante, excited to hear your story. Yeah, that was a fucking awesome story, dude. That really was.
Yeah, I want to add like one more thing because I saw in the comments is one thing that like made it kind of like all worse was at that time I had to pretend like shit was okay because and I want to like talk about why. Your mindset is everything because I was like I can like lose money like when I was like going through like all these different like tough times. I can like lose money and like still bounce back. But like once someone corrupts your mind, it's like it's over. So I knew that I couldn't even like at that time, like, because my parents didn't like fuck with what I was doing. Like my mom kind of like supported it or whatever. But like, and again, like shout out to my parents. Like again, I want to like make it very clear. I'm not. I love my parents. They like they did as best as like they can with raising me and stuff. Like my dad was in my life, and all this kind of different stuff. So they were just doing what they thought was like the best, to help me. Like they were literally like thinking like they were trying to like keep me from like making a grave mistake or something like this. So, but in that, I couldn't even tell them like how hard it was or what I was going through. I couldn't ask them for money or anything because one, they wouldn't give it to me. Like they wouldn't give it to me because they didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just ask my parents for like $1,000 or something like that. Like they didn't like barely like fucking, just like getting by and stuff. But I couldn't tell them because if I told them, they would just be like, "See, I told you so. This is why you need to quit, and this is why and like so I had to pretend like I was still doing it, like even though I was going through like all these different like dark times and stuff. I was failing. I was like getting crushed. I was like losing everything, all this kind of stuff. I had to like just pretend. I couldn't tell nobody. I didn't want to tell my friends because I didn't want to feel like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
So I was just like going through all this stuff, and I was just like I couldn't like really like tell. And the reason I didn't tell anybody is because again, I knew that I could like lose the money. I can go through all these different things and I bounce back. But I was afraid that if I told them, and I think it would have probably been true at the time, if I told them, they would like really made me doubt myself, like really made me doubt what I was doing. It really made me doubt anything. So I had to like protect my mind from those things. So you can bounce back from anything, but like once like someone crushes your spirit, it's over. Like it's over. Like so that was like kind of the thing that made it even more tough.
Yeah. Social media doesn't help either now. Like now you gotta like really pretend like you're good, even if you don't. Like who knows what's really going on beneath the wraps when you're not posting content. Like you really don't know. It's even hard. I think that's why there's so much of a pressure on these kids who are growing up because there's such push on entrepreneurship, and that shit takes a long time sometimes. And like in the beginning, it's not really that great. It's pretty shitty, honestly. Like it's shitty for a long time before anything good happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, here's a good question that has a little bit about here it is. Have you taken profits from NFT trading into real estate?
No, I haven't. I just no, I haven't. I just taken my profit, like I said, because I think you should just like for me personally, I just invest into things that I understand. So I don't understand like real estate very deeply. So what I was doing, I don't know when you joined. Thanks for the question, Luis. I don't know when you joined the podcast, but I actually used to I still do to this day as I do like digital marketing, things like that. So I would take my profits from like NFTs, and right now I have like stores that I'm building out in teams and things like that are generating, that we're going to get like right now they're generating like 30 to maybe 40K a month, but we're going to get them back to like 6-figure per month. So like I take those profits from like NFTs and crypto and all this kind of stuff, and I put them back into my business. And because I understand my business, again, like if you're someone who understands real estate on a deep level, that's totally fine. But I'd rather like, I literally have the skill set in myself to like, turn fucking, 10K into 100K and then like turn that 100K into like millions of dollars, like, especially like on a perpetual basis. So that's how I reinvest because of my particular skill set and this kind of stuff. So I don't understand real estate. I don't understand the cash flow. And from my point of view, even someone like Graham Stephan, I actually met Graham Stephan back in 2000. Man, Graham Stephan is going through it right now. Like, I don't know if you just started getting sued for like billions of dollars for promoting the FTX.
He's getting sued.
Yeah, I think by the Attorney General in Tennessee or some shit like that. But it's like Graham Stephan, Andre Jig, Big Boy Crypto, Tom Brady, all these guys. They just got a new lawsuit for like $1 billion for the FTX shit. So
shit, did not know that. I know a lot of people who were sponsored by FTX. Are they all fucked? Like I know a lot of NFT YouTubers who were sponsored by them too.
Yeah, they tried to. They was like back in the day. They tried to like get me on there as well, but I didn't do it. I don't know. They're probably just gonna go for the bigger people. Yeah, but I guess technically you could if they find that stuff. Wow. But yeah, I think it's mostly just probably usually they just go for the biggest people. But I mean, you technically probably could. But I don't think like usually in the lawsuits like they just focus on like the main players like
Yeah.
to try to get them because those lawsuits too they're about publicity. You know what I mean? Like if you're attorney
Right.
general and you like get some really famous rich person or something like that, it's gonna move your career up.
Mhm.
So that's how they kind of like focus versus like some fucking NFT YouTuber with like 10K subs that no one really like knows.
Yeah.
So so like you maybe get lucky in that way unless you're like huge. But yeah, man, that's what I do. So I would suggest like if you have again not financial advice, do what the fuck you want to do. But if you have some particular uh, like it wouldn't really make sense. Like I don't understand. I don't understand real estate. I was making a point to say like I met Graham Stephan like back in the day before I think it was before he had like $1 million. We had like a dinner together and we talked about business and stuff.
Wow.
And I met him and he made way more money like that at that time. He showed me like his YouTube what do you call it? His YouTube fucking AdSense revenue, sorry. And he was making like 70, 80K a month from AdSense revenue.
Whoa.
And even from where he was at then, he's an expert in real estate, but he wasn't making as much profit from real estate. So, that's someone who knows real estate and he has millions of dollars worth of real estate and stuff, but like profit and cash flow and stuff, he's making it from like his online business, which was like YouTube and stuff. So, again, if you understand real estate and you want to do that, that's fine. But for me, I just reinvested into like businesses and in particular like skill set and things that I know to like grow that capital more. So that's how I do it. So it's probably like the best bet for people.
Yeah, I would agree. Guys, listen, we have made it to the end, but I have one rapid fire Q&A question because I feel like there's been some serious fucking game. My editor's gonna have a ball. I've been literally taking notes throughout the show because I'm like, yo, do not miss this one. Do not miss this one. Do not miss this clip because I know they're there. And like, I've been editing for so long. I know when they're there. The sound bites, I love them. So we just dropped some serious games. So definitely likes, retweets, shares. Definitely follow Dante on all platforms. He's on YouTube. But I have a rapid fire Q&A because I feel like I might be completely wrong about this, but I'm like 90% sure it was you. I feel like you're a strong anime guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, drop what's the anime that people should be watching? What's the anime? If you've been watching anime, what should they be watching? And if you've never watched anime, what should they be watching? Drop the alpha, bro.
Okay, so if you never watched anime, I would say probably Attack on Titan, just because of like the story and like how it was written and stuff. I feel like it's like because certain animes, the styles and stuff is like the art and stuff is too like weird and funky where it, like might freak people the fuck out. Like it's just like, oh, this is super weird. But I think Attack on Titan, like the characters look normal enough and the story is good enough in the way that it's written. I mean, obviously the Titans themselves, but I think like because it's like I think people could understand like the Titan, like people understand the lore of Titans and stuff like that to kind of get it. So I think that one will be one, and I really like Attack on Titan. Maybe Demon Slayer as well will probably be good, depending on if you like animated stuff or not. Demon Slayer is quite good. Me, I really like Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho is like super good. I don't know. I would definitely highly recommend to check that one out. If you like funny shit, like comedy, silly, kind of like space adventure, definitely Space Dandy is super dope, bro. Like it's not a serious one. It's like not serial. It's like not episodic, but it's like some of the best art that you'll see. Like it's like super beautiful. It's like vibes and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I like Black Clover as well. It's pretty good. But that's what I would say. I'd probably say like most people could probably watch Attack on Titan if they never watched anime or something like that and like get into it. And then maybe Demon Slayer as well.
I've heard Demon Slayer for sure. I've heard Demon Slayer come up a few times, so I feel like that's definitely one people should be checking out. What food are you eating? Like, what's the go-to food when you're pairing it up with anime? Like, you got is it pizza? Like, what's the best food to eat with it?
Oh, when I'm watching anime?
Yeah, dude.
When I was watching anime, probably burritos. Because it's just easy to fucking eat. Like, it's just like you don't have to like. Because I don't like. I stop eating when I'm watching TV now, but when I do have to eat when I watch, because I don't like to like be like, oh, like, I'm a fucking food, like spilling shit. So like I just eat a burrito. It's like easy. You just like it's in your hand. It's like everything is in there. You just like
Yeah, I'm game, dude. I eat Chipotle every day. It's a burrito every time I watch anything. Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, this was a fucking fantastic conversation. I loved it. I had a great time. Love to have you back on one day. And I think a ton of people. I know some people in here were from the very beginning, an hour and a half ago. So I want to shout out some of y'all that were in here since the very beginning. I know you guys know who you are, but you were in Spaces. Some of y'all on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, wherever you guys are from or watching the stream. So I want to say thank you so much for y'all. Again, if you're watching on Twitch, some of y'all are winning money. I saw some people winning cash prizes. If you're John Ronan, then you literally want a free NFT. But dude, Dante, thank you so much for coming on. This was so much fun.
No worries, man. I had a good time too, man.
Hell yeah, man. Do you want to shout anyone out before we close this thing out?
No, just go. I would say if you guys enjoyed the conversation, just check out some of those other guys. I guess you can like check out my YouTube channel. The last video that I made was pretty good. I'll say check out like Alex Hormozy. Tim Ferriss. If you want to like really learn deeper, investing and stuff, I would definitely say check out Ray Dalio's Principles and Howard Marks podcast that he did with Tim Ferriss, because I think those two things like really apply with you guys, apply to what we did. Like literally the Howard Marks podcast with Tim Ferriss made me like hundreds of thousands of dollars, just like that mindset stuff in there. So check that out. Check out like Ray Dalio, check out Alex Hormozy, all this kind of stuff. And then check out my YouTube channel as well. I'm just shouting out like good information for you guys.
Right on. Yeah, guys. Sounds good, dude. Again, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, continue on your Joyage. Sure, Dante, stay on for like 2 seconds after, just because it needs to like fully like upload your video. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure, again, smash the like, subscribe. We got more NFT content coming your way. I'll be in NFT LA next week on the 20th to the 23rd, I think it is. I'll be there in LA. I'll be there at NFT NYC. So I will hopefully see you guys in person. Until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn. And we go if you're live watching this Twitter space / YouTube podcast /